Hello everyone, welcome to our Let's Play series of Mass Effect. This is Colonel RPG as usual, and I'm very happy to have you here with me as I sort of was expecting this to work. It doesn't work. What am I missing here? Do I need to go upstairs? So last episode... Oh no, we can't go upstairs. What am I talking about? I think we need to go down. Last episode we unlocked a thing. Oh. Look at the minimap. When I look at that, the minimap gets a little squirrely. Everybody likes the squirrely. This is what we unlocked last episode. It looks cool. Is it an elevator? It is an elevator. I can't move. That's how elevators work. That's how you know you're in an elevator. Oh. That's the person. That's the person over there. Ashley?
Say the word.
Tally?
You lead. I'll follow.
I thought you should say things. Okay. And finally we have Liara.
How did you get in here? I didn't think there was any way past the barrier.
Neither did I, to be honest.
We blasted through with the mining laser.
Of course. Yes, that makes sense. Please, get me out of here before more Geth arrive. That button over there should shut down this containment field.
Any idea how we get out of this place?
There is an elevator back in the center of the tower. At least I think it's an elevator. It should take us out of here. Come on! I still cannot believe all this. Why would the Geth come after me? Do you think Benezia's involved?
Saren's looking for the conduit. Think fast, Miss Prothean expert.
The conduit? But I don't know...
The Ashley's comment was weird.
What the hell was that?
These ruins are not stable. That mining laser must have triggered a seismic event.
It's called an earthquake? Liara.
We have to hurry. The whole place is caving in.
Joker, get the Normandy airborne and lock in on my signal. On the double, mister!
Aye, aye, Commander. Secure and away. ETA 8 minutes.
He needs to move faster.
He doesn't. We're in an elevator. I can't move. Mister? Doesn't he have a rank? We were talking about Sans last episode. This game might not know what proper addressing of people is, because I think he probably has a rank. You don't call Miss in English specifically, anyway. You don't call people like a lieutenant. You don't call them Mr. Lieutenant. The lieutenant is a... You know, it replaces Mr. It's like Doctor.
Brenda, you don't. That would be more fun.
I couldn't hear you over the terrible sound that happened. What was that? The ruin's coming down. Yes, it is.
We don't have time to deal with this idiot. Charge!
I like your attitude.
Okay. Interestingly enough, don't have 4 companions. I don't think the game would allow for that. So what do we have over here? We have a Geth sniper, but I really can't tell more than that. Okay, well, I think I'm gonna go over there. It's probably not a good idea, but at least I'm... Oh! Okay, the sniper is out. We don't need to be here. Oh, there you are. Interesting. That's bad news. I don't know what you're doing. I'm gonna smack you. Okay, that guy died. Oh, hi. You see, when you have a cover system, you want to design levels that allow me to take cover. Because that didn't. Did you notice what happened? I'll tell you what happened.
Too close, Commander. 10 more seconds we would have been swimming in molten sulfur. The Normandy isn't equipped to land in exploding volcanoes. They tend to fry our sensors and melt our hull. Just for future reference.
We almost died out there, and your pilot is making jokes?
Yes. You're just, driving my point home right here. Did you notice how loud that was? It was really, really loud. I have boosted the volume of the game a little bit, but that's not the reason why it's loud. It was really loud. I think I know what happened there. They designed this mission and wrote the mission, and you know, the game has its own direction. It's trying to be cinematic at the same time as action-packed and all this sort of stuff. It is Mass Effect and all that. So they designed the mission and they had normal volumes, I am guessing. And then the producer or the director or whoever was responsible for the team who made this this bit of the game anyway showed up and played it, and you know, we're making a big deal about how dangerous that was, but it didn't really feel like it was dangerous. And it didn't feel like it was dangerous. Certainly not when they were running away. Certainly not at any stage of that particular mission, in fact. Apart from me dying because of the driving while I was drinking coffee, really. But that was a different thing altogether. Anyway, it didn't feel. So what did the people who made the mission say to that? Well, I can't make it feel more dangerous. We're not gonna... Do you want this cutscene to be a playable section? We don't have time for this, or maybe we don't have budget, or maybe you know, sometimes it's better to have a cutscene instead of a playable section, just because of the pacing of the storyline. And there's a lot of reasons. Also, pacing. I ruined the pacing by my rambles, but anyway, this is a let's play. So if you want your experience of the game to not be ruined by my rambles, you probably should play the game. It's anyway. The thing is, what I'm trying to say is, they didn't make it a playable section, the whole being destroyed. It could have been for many reasons, probably for budget reasons, because it's just a tiny side mission, having destructible environments and all this sort of stuff. That takes a long time, and playtesting, it's really difficult. It's really difficult to make good, not frustrating, the destructible levels that you're trying to flee from. Also, it's a super trope, and I hate it, but that's beside the point. The point is, the only solution that they had was crank the volume up of that music. And so they did. And that's why it was dangerous, ladies and gentlemen and beautiful people. That's why it was dangerous, because the music was so loud. It was not dangerous. It's fine. Liara is making a point, though, here. I could say he's a jerk. You know what? I'm going to say he's a jerk. Because, sure. Also, we can't date him, so there's really no reason to cozy up to our Mr. Pilot. So, yeah.
Sometimes Joker's a real ass. Just try to ignore him.
I see. It must be a human thing. I don't have a lot of experience dealing with your species, Commander.
No, you have asses,
I'm
too.
grateful to you.
It's,
You saved my life back there, and not just from the volcano. Those Geth would have killed me or dragged me off to Saren.
What did Saren want with you? Do you know something about the conduit?
Only that it was somehow connected to the Prothean extinction. That is my real area of expertise. I have spent the past 50 years trying to figure out what happened to them.
Just how old are you exactly?
I hate to admit it, but I am only 106.
Damn! I hope I look that good when I'm your age.
A century may seem like a long time to a short-lived species like yours, but among the Asari I am barely considered more than a child. That is why my research has not received the attention it deserves. Because of my youth, other Asari scholars tend to dismiss my theories on what happened to the Protheans.
I've got my own theory on why the Protheans disappeared.
With all due respect, Commander, I have heard every theory out there. The problem is finding evidence to support them. The Protheans left remarkably little behind. It is almost as if someone did not want the mystery solved. It is like someone came along after the Protheans were gone and cleansed the galaxy of clues. But here is the incredible part. According to my findings, the Protheans were not the first galactic civilization to mysteriously vanish. This cycle began long before them.
There's a bit of a jump there, and I'm gonna ask that. Cycle? Just because they weren't the first, it doesn't mean it's a cycle. Even if there were multiple, it doesn't mean it's a cycle. Although obviously it is a cycle, and but it is a cycle from the from the perspective of why is he saying that? Why is she saying that it's a cycle? Did we? I'm trying to think if we saw this earlier in the game, if we had a mention of this cycle. I don't think we had, but the delivery here. It doesn't. It's not that it feels weird, but it feels contrived enough for you to be able to take this writing at face value. When she says this cycle began long before, like it is the game telling you that it's a freaking cycle of galactic civilizations mysteriously vanishing over and over again. And that's a huge revelation for just reading between the lines, because this reading between the lines isn't actually like the traditional reading between the lines of storytelling, where it's just like you have clues and you have like, what if this would be and what if that. No, this is the reading between the lines that sort of requires you to understand the shortcomings of writing with it's not prescience, it's omniscience really, but shortcomings of like this. I feel that line over there is not well written, is what I mean to say, and writers will write that because they don't necessarily think like there's a lot of text to write. I'm not blaming anybody here, or even the like it's not a big deal. But the thing is, like, they're giving away the game, is what I mean to say. You're giving away the game, and not from and the problem is you're not like the character would say this. This is a completely in character thing. But then again, if you're giving away the game and the answer to this cycle is the game, then you're not giving away the game. But let's hope that she does explain it, because otherwise that line over there just proves that what I just said, that there is a cycle of galactic civilizations that mysteriously vanish. The Protheans were just the latest. Let's hope that that's what she says, because yes, Shepard, the cycle.
What cycle? What are you talking about?
The galaxy is built on a cycle of extinction. Each time a great civilization rises up, it is suddenly and violently cast down. Only ruins survive. The Protheans rose up from a single world until their empire spanned the entire galaxy. Yet even they climbed to the top on the remains of those who came before. Their greatest achievements, the mass relays and the Citadel, are based on the technology of those who came before them. And then, like all the other forgotten civilizations throughout galactic history, the Protheans disappeared. I have dedicated my life to figuring out why.
This is great. She actually explained it. That's great. I thought this was only explained later in the game. Maybe because I only got her later in the game when I played this game for the first time. I wonder, because the second time I played this game, I played it very close to playing it the first time. And I must have known that Liara was a joinable companion. I must have skipped the dialogue, or well, I mean, because I'm not. Because when we play a game by ourselves, we don't engage with the games in the same way that we do when we have somebody next to us watching. And I have somebody next to me watching, except it's over the internet. But yeah, you're watching, so I'm engaged with the game as if somebody was right next to me. So there's differences there. So I would have missed this bit, but it's good that this bit of that particular line there that I rambled a little bit about. It's good that she's explaining it here. It adds that like this is the mystique of the setting. I think I don't know what the influence that would be. I'm not a big sci-fi buff. I haven't read all the books and all the series, or watched all the certainly not watched all the series. I'd never watched any. The only sci-fi TV series that I've watched was a little bit of The Expanse, and the first season of the newest Battlestar Galactica, I think. Maybe some other one that I forget. Babylon 5, potentially? I don't know. I forget. It's just, I like sci-fi, but I don't like it enough to... I like sci-fi because of this thing, because of this stuff, like the mystique of like ancient civilizations and all this sort of stuff. And when it comes to TV series, because the budget for making it about the ancient civilizations and stuff, it usually it just balloons the budget up tremendously, because you can't, it needs to be humans, right? That's why Star Trek aliens all look like humans. That's why even Star Wars, did I say trailers? Aliens. Even Star Wars aliens all look like humans, only some of them look like slugs. I never watched Star Wars either. The point is, like, that's why, like, space operas are a thing. It's not really sci-fi. It's just, a normal a fiction and normal story that you put on a backdrop of sci-fi, and instead of having swords, you have Star Wars swords, and whatever they're called, I forget. The point is, I like things that are more experimental. I like things that just go out there, really. And I don't know. I like sci-fi for this stuff, for this like mystical, freaking civilizations that we don't even have a name for. They built the mass relays, and then this ancient civilization that we have never even saw relics of, apart from just their houses, apparently. They used the mass relays, and we always thought that they built them, but they didn't. Apparently, it's somebody else, and Liara here knows, and it's, oh yes, this is the good stuff. The good stuff. Like I am an archaeologist by education, not by trade, but by education, and I went into archaeology precisely because of these, of the love for these mysteries, really. I played Tomb Raider, and I liked Tomb Raider because they go to Vilcabamba and to all these towns that at the time Vilcabamba wasn't known to have existed, or rather, we didn't know where Vilcabamba was when the first Tomb Raider came out, but since then we found it. It's pretty interesting. But Vilcabamba in particular, I remember it because it was the first one that I looked up, because I saw the name of the level, and I was like, Vilcabamba, let me look it up. And I looked it up online, and it was like this thing that we have records of, or whatever, or the myths or whatnot. And I was like, wait a minute, this video game has things that people think exist? Oh no, video games are so good. Also, I want to go into archaeology. It turns out archaeology is not that, unfortunately. But, I mean, it is if you're rich. But I am not. So, it isn't. So, yeah, unfortunately, that's how it goes. But that's one of the reasons why I like Fallout. Not the only reason, but one of the reasons. It's the sort of like finding this ancient world, the world from before the war, and finding the glow, and finding stuff about the Brotherhood of Steel and their ancient technology and all that sort of. That's really cool, and this is really cool. This is what I geek out to, is these Protheans, yeah, this is the setting. This is the whole storyline is going to be based on this particular thing. On this particular dialogue here. It's pretty important.
They were wiped out by a race of sentient machines. The Reapers.
The Reapers? But I have never heard of. How do you know this? What evidence do you have?
There was a damaged Prothean beacon on Eden Prime. It burned a vision into my brain. I'm still trying to sort out what it all means.
A beacon? Yes, that makes sense. But the beacons were not programmed to interact with human physiology. I am surprised you were able to make any sense of it at all.
Oh, my physiology interacts with anything. Don't worry about it. Yes. I think so much we haven't been able to make sense of it, so much so that we as players don't know that it is that. Although Shepard might have said something about it already. The last time we had a vision, I mentioned that it was just an evolved vision of the first vision when we had we saw the beacon, and you can tell that as a player if you actually are recording the first vision and go and watch it frame by frame. But the game doesn't want you to do that, obviously. I did that because I was editing the videos and all that, so I went and watched it frame by frame, the first vision, and it's really weird imagery, half of it, because it's not in-game, it's like photographs and stuff. It's kind of weird, but it works well enough, and you can tell what it is. Even the second vision, where the cuts are a lot more spaced out, so you have time to absorb and understand what's going on. Even the second lengthier vision, you can't tell what it is either. You can see the big spaceships, though, but the conclusion here that Shepard is reaching is revelatory. It is your character telling you the story as a player, which is interesting. It's an interesting... It's not a novel way of storytelling, but it is an interesting way of doing it in RPGs. Usually, you don't do it like that when you're a little bit more choice-driven on the storytelling. Usually, you let your character say what you as a player want them to say, but yeah. I am surprised you were able to make any sense of it at all. I can't.
It's just a bunch of random images, even after I got the cipher.
The cipher?
Some Asari mumbo-jumbo, supposed to help the commander think like a Prothean. I don't know if it worked, though.
Yeah.
The cipher altered my perception of the visions, but it's subtle. I still can't make sense of what I'm seeing.
And this was something another Asari did to you? Commander, with your permission, I would like to try something. You were touched by the beacon. The visions are locked away inside your mind. One of my people gave you a deeper understanding of the visions, but you still cannot put all the pieces of the puzzle together. I might be able to help you.
What do you have in mind?
Like the Asari who gave you the cipher, I can join my consciousness to yours. Maybe my knowledge of the Protheans will help clarify your vision.
Your consciousness. Go ahead, absolutely, but I kind of wish she was gonna talk about something more specific, because joining my consciousness to yours, that is so vague and so specific that it either is explained through magic always, no matter how sci-fi your setting is, or like I'm Colonel RPG right now, am joining my consciousness to yours as well, because I'm talking to you right now over the internet. And so our consciousness is together. Because consciousness isn't really a thing, insofar as, like, you can define it. Yeah, I'm not making it up right now. It's one of my favorite subjects to think about. But yeah, consciousness is sort of like a construct, in the sense of, like, it's a construct not so much as, like, I don't know. There's a lot of constructs that are a lot more tangible than consciousness. And being a construct doesn't mean that it isn't definable. Obviously, like, language is definable, and it's still a construct. Or the, I don't know, the criminal law is a construct, and it's still very, very definable, even better than language, because you can point at it. But anyway, the thing about consciousness is that you can't point at it. You can't define it in a sense, especially when you're talking to about aliens. And even if you don't talk about aliens, it's like, even if you talk just life on Earth, it's so hazy that it requires just people agreeing on calling it a consciousness or not, and joining consciousness. That, what does that mean? What could that mean? Like, is it her memories being my memories? Is that what we're talking here? If that is what we're talking here, why isn't she saying it like that? Is it her personality overriding my personality? Because that sounds pretty. That's what we're talking about here. Like, if it is, why isn't she saying that? If it isn't, how is her consciousness gonna be joined? It's very complicated. Is it like a USB connection where she just transfers data into my brain? Because that's what speaking is. It's not a USB connection, it's wireless, but, you know, we don't like cables, we do it wirelessly. I transfer information into your brain when I talk to you. I'm not even, like, this, that is what talking is. But it's like telepathy. It's basically the same level of specificity. Telepathy, if you think about it, telepathy, whatever it is either already exists in the form of us talking to each other, or leaving messages written in a paper and you look at it and or it can never exist in the sense that it doesn't make sense. Telepathy, like, is it talking to each other without actually making sounds? Is that what you mean? Because the problem with the making sounds is the sounds don't happen in real life. The sounds don't happen in the material world. They happen in our brains. Because in the material world, what we have are vibrations. It's like letters don't happen in the real world. What happens in the real world is like pigments on a paper, or your computer screen doing the little jiggly jiggles with the lights and all that, and then you in your brain see letters because you're trained to do that. It is a thing that you have learned to do that, and it's a good thing that you learned the same letters I did, or maybe you didn't, and maybe you're watching this and just, you know, how to speak English, but you don't know how to read the letters, which is totally fine as well. But the point is, you learned probably you learned the same letters I did, so I can write to you, and you read the same letters, and we're all sharing the same things in our brains. But the real life counterparts, they're not, like, they could be a myriad of things. They literally could be a myriad of things. We could talk to each other, like, to force you to hear things without, like, hypothetically, I should say, like you could hear things just in your brain without your ears, because it's the neural system that hears. It's not so much your internal ear that hears. It's your brain that does it. It's like seeing. It's basically like seeing as well. It's not your eyes that see. It's your brain. Your eyes just transmit some information. If there's another way to transmit that information, your brain is still gonna see. You are still gonna see. And yeah. Anyway, I ramble about all the things. This is a very important dialogue in the game.
It's worth a shot.
Let's do this joining. Let's see what happens.
Relax, Commander.
Oh.
Embrace eternity.
See, it's magic. It has to be magic, otherwise that... It's the same vision as before, I think. A lot of those little fast images are photos. These ones, specifically.
That was incredible. All this time, all my research, yet I never dreamed. I am sorry. The images were so vivid. I never imagined the experience would be so intense.
I have that
You are
effect on people.
remarkably strong-willed, Commander. What you have been through, what you have seen, would have destroyed a lesser mind.
Come on, get to the point. What'd you see?
The beacon on Eden Prime must have been badly damaged. Large parts of the vision are missing. The data transferred into the Commander's mind is incomplete.
Yes, it's all buggy. It's what you mean. Ashley, she never watches videos. It's fine. It's like if your internet is failing. And your YouTube videos are skipping ahead.
You sure you didn't come across any kind of clue or hint? Something we might have missed?
Everything I saw you already know. You were right about the Reapers. The Protheans were destroyed by a race of sentient machines. I think it is obvious there is a connection between the Reapers, the Prothean extinction, and the Conduit, but I did not see anything that would help us find it.
Also, the question about consciousness also applies to sentience. Is that how it's pronounced? Yeah, it's basically the same thing. They are equivalent. Sentient machines are conscious machines. And how do you know they are conscious? That they have conscience? How do you test that? How do you tell? Did I ramble about that when the game makes the distinction between AI and VI? Yeah, I don't know if I did or not. It's interesting to think about that in conjunction with these machines. Because, forget the rambles. Forget, like, me picking on how realistic the storytelling is or not. Because at the end of the day, it's just curiosities. All I'm saying is, like, it's not a critique of the game so much as just curiosities that I'm adding on top because I ramble. The game is clearly telling us a story here of a world that prohibits AI for whatever reason, but the theme is there. But then there is this AI race that, if even AI race doesn't even make sense. I say race. I don't think did the game say race or species? Yeah, basically the same word. It's interchangeable in this particular case. But yeah, these AI species, that doesn't even make sense. But they come in and destroy the ancient galactic civilizations. It's also interesting. It is also worth pointing out that the game makes no attempt at distinguishing between different types of advancements in terms of a galactic civilization, or rather a civilization at all, of aliens, whatever species they might be. Because, it makes sense that it doesn't make that distinction, because I think this game is written from a specific point of view that doesn't really concern itself with the distinction. But what I mean by that is that if the Protheans, last Protheans, and if the Protheans before that, they weren't Protheans, they were another species, but whatever, we're going to call them Protheans before that. If they all, like, became very big and very spread out, and the machines came in and killed them, the game is really having a very humanist, it's not humanist, the word, but, it is humanist, but it's complicated if I say it like that. What I mean is it's human-centric. It's not even human-centric, it's very much European-centric in terms of the notion of expansion, the notion of might, and populating different places being equivalent of advancement. like, if you start thinking about how to make up new species in space, you will very quickly run into, and if you're trying to be creative, obviously, you're very quickly run into ideas of species that could just, be very, very advanced, but still, not at all reflective of what the Protheans are, or even reflective of of what the civilization of aliens in this particular game is, in terms of like control over multiple worlds, or affecting other species, or even being in multiple worlds. You can be super advanced, but what does being advanced means at the end of the day? The thing is, being advanced means whatever you as a person think being advanced means. Does having a nice cell phone mean you're more advanced than having a very nice plant? Well, I guess no. If the plant can, give you more information, for example, than the cell phone can, like, it's readily obviously not, because we value information as a species. But what if you make an alien species that doesn't value information? Because the cell phone, we're talking about like modern cell phone. I say cell phone, but smartphone probably would be a better thing. I'm just talking in the sense that our notion of advancement, our notion of what is a big civilization, an influential civilization, really changes based on our own moral and cultural values. And in a intergalactic species, or in a scenario like this, where it's more than just actually different species, but also very, very different times, species that never interacted with us, this cycle inevitably leads to a species becoming this. So it's interesting like that. It doesn't invalidate that there are species that are more advanced. They just don't bother other people. And the Protheans, maybe there's a species out there that is just incredibly advanced. Maybe they are like, they create universes inside themselves, and they have like all the calculations they want, and just super amazing things, and they know everything, and they control everything. Even they could be the biggest thing, even bigger than apparently these civilization killing machines are. But because they, I don't know, managed to stop time and live in a particular bubble of the universe and never move forward or backwards, maybe they can't even be touched. That's how powerful they are. Maybe they exist, and the Prothean, and not the Protheans, but the Reapers here, they don't care, because they're not big. So in terms of the setting, it makes sense that it makes sense to characterize the Reapers like this, like big civilization killing machines, basically. But it still says something about the writers, that they see this sort of advancement as advancement, and it also as sort of inevitable. It's kind of written like that, in that it is inevitable, that it's a cycle, and it isn't inevitable. In fact, it is possible that civilizations that focus on expansion and focus on might are doomed to fail. It is possible that it's just impossible to do that, in the sense of it's a failed culture or a failed moral system, and you're just going to ruin everything for yourself before you ruin it for other people. The Fermi paradox, I believe, is the name of the thing. It's kind of complicated to understand, because it's not a paradox, in the sense, in the street. Well, it's not a paradox technically, but it is called a paradox. But if you look up the Fermi paradox, you'll run into discussions about this. You rarely will run into discussions of what I'm saying here, which is a bit of a problem, because the Fermi paradox has to be understood as that. It has to be understood with the context that it is very European-centric, in the sense of what we consider advanced civilizations, galactic civilizations, to even possibly be. And I say European specifically because it's if I say human-centric, I am like, we as humans have a lot of cultures, and we Europeans. I am European myself. We went to a lot of places. Colonized everywhere and all that sort of stuff, and that's basically the same principle that we see these civilizations as, and to assign advanced as being the best version of that colonization stuff, and especially in this game that we use so much of the language and so much of the concepts that are associated with the colonization. It's very obvious that it is written in that perspective. It's never addressed head on. It's just the implicit. But anyway, we're gonna continue this dialogue when in the next episode, because we're out of time for the day. So for right now, I'm Colonel RPG, and this has been Mass Effect. I really hope you've enjoyed it, despite the rambles, or maybe because of the rambles. Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next episode. Bye-bye.